Hello, and to everyone across the world, a very happy St. Patrick's Day 2021. And we're all live, and with all the pubs shut, what a better way to celebrate than to live it up in our final extinct attraction park. It's Disney's Hollywood Studios tonight, or should that be Disney MGM Studios for the sentimental purists amongst us. It's Wafflers Wednesday. I'm John, and I'm joined tonight by my fellows Wafflers, Ben and Becca and Claire, to complete our memories from the parks that are now extinct. So, how are you tonight, guys?
Very well.
Yeah, good. Looking forward to it. I've really enjoyed doing these extinct attraction shows. It's been great fun just thinking back to all the stuff that we've lost along the way. Some good, some not so good.
My first, last and only.
Oh, you're very welcome to join us, Becca. I think we've done all of them.
Welcome, Becca. It's good to have you on board. And actually, I'd agree with you, Claire. I think it's been a real. I think it's been a privilege because I've been able to talk about things that perhaps we don't get a chance to talk about on the main show and stuff like that. And I don't know. It's just that it's added to the sort of the expectation of wanting to go back again and just seeing how the parks evolve.
This is the one I've been looking forward to most, actually, Hollywood Studios, because it was our first Walt Disney World park. So seeing it back from when we first went through the gates, and it's seeing how different it is now.
I think that's along the way. It's a strange one, Ben, isn't it? Because I think we said for Animal Kingdom, we said we didn't. Well, I think I flippantly said after the Epcot show, we won't get much out of Animal Kingdom. And actually, when we started looking at it was quite a considerable amount. When you start to think about the changes and the visual changes in Hollywood Studios, even in the past 10 years, that must be one of the biggest programs of redevelopment that Disney's ever undertaken. And I think at one point, when Star Wars was mooted, and we're actually thinking about, should they actually just shut the park and actually get it done quickly? And it was a real sort of balancing act. And I think I'm really looking forward to talking about what we're going to do tonight. But before we do, can I just ask everyone a question? Everyone at home and you guys, have you listened to our Big Fat Panda podcast that came out on Monday?
Not only listened to it, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
I nearly crashed the car again today because I listened to the bit we talked about Alien Encounter, right? And I'm no spoilers allowed, right? But I've got to say, I was on the show, I laughed then, and I cried with laughter once again tonight on my way home from work. And I'll leave it at that. But it's available on YouTube. It's on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it. But it's also available to download as the podcast from your favourite podcast place. Now, I know where mine is, but I'm not going to promote them, guys. So anyway, before we start, make sure you click on the like button just to let everyone else know what we're doing tonight. It does make a difference. And before we do start talking, there's loads of people in the chat. I would also like to say, I hope Terry...
She is. Terry's here.
Terry's there. Massive hello to Terry. Brilliant.
There she be.
Yeah. Charlie's there in the chat as well. Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate that. Yeah. Hello, humans and me. Yeah. Thank you.
We have to live with that. It's
tough
going.
Get used to it after a while.
Yeah. I can also say a big hello to Catherine as well, because Catherine was already ready and waiting. Even before we started. So, appreciate that, Catherine. It's always nice to know that people are there waiting for us. So,
who else have we got? We got Anna is here and on time. Well done, Anna.
Joe's here.
Yeah.
Joe Logan's here. Yeah.
Joe's always first.
Jill, and I think I've seen Peter as well.
Yeah. Nikki is here. Hello, cousin Nikki.
Hi, Carrie.
That's fantastic. We've got loads of people.
And Peter and Jill are there as well, guiding the chat as well. So
yes,
if we miss any of your comments, I'm pretty sure Peter and Jill, who are on the chat as hot as souls.
Or what you could do is just keep typing it in, and we'll get to it eventically.
Yeah.
Instead of scrolling back up,
just big shout capitals, and we'll.
Because we're a bit like that. Once we start waffling, it's difficult.
I know. What would be good?
Valerie.
Yeah.
Oh, Lisa's noticed an administration error.
Oh no.
Lisa, just wait a couple of weeks. It'll be back to being correct again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so confusing.
I know.
You know, I've missed a
can't-
load of American streams already this week.
Yep.
And I keep clicking on an hour late, you know, my normal time, and I'm going, I've just missed it. And I'm hoping Tina turns up at some point in the chat as well, because we had Tina on Twitter telling us it was 10 minutes till we were on air, and that was at 10 to 7, and I was just about to step in the shower after work, and I'm thinking, is there something I don't know here? So, and thankfully we worked around it, but a big thank you to Tina, and like I say, it'd be like a standing joke for everyone who's actually watching at the moment. So when Tina comes in, I'll turn around and say, where have you been? We've been on for an hour and a bit.
So Terry, we did say hello, and I think the other thing to say to you again this week is thank you for all your amazing memories that you have shared with us in terms of photos and things, so that we can use them for the show. So we really, really appreciate that. I think the other thing I wanted to ask was people to tell us in the chat the things that they miss from Hollywood Studios, because we're going to talk about a whole load of stuff, but I reckon we'll miss things. So do shout out what you think we should talk about as well.
Yeah. Which begs the question, where should we start? And I think we're going to start with a little bit of scientific research that Ben's carried out today, which the results are...
It's changed, can I just say?
Really conclusive.
It was 80%.
Scientific research being an Instagram poll.
Might have changed a little bit.
Has it? It hasn't refreshed on mine. It's still saying 80%.
Well, it's wrong.
So yeah, I asked on Instagram earlier, if you've noticed, do you miss the Sorcerer's Hat from Disney's Hollywood Studios? 80% said yes.
No. Yeah. Anyone who hasn't voted, can you nip to Instagram and just say no? Because nobody misses that hat.
Before Ben closes the poll.
Let's see if it changes by the end of the show.
Yeah, by the end of the show. Nobody misses that hat.
I miss the hat.
I miss the hat, Claire.
Do you?
I'm going to say, I really do. I actually...
The hat that completely obliterated the view of the theatre.
But it was
I didn't think the theatre was there. I have to admit, when on our first trip, I didn't realise much about the theatre, apart from it obviously being a great movie ride. But it was like the hat was there, and that was the main focus.
Yeah.
So, but them taking that away, that was the first time going to the park. So, that's different.
Beautiful. And then they stuck this massive, great big hat in front of it. It really annoyed me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very controversial, isn't it?
It's not controversial in the slightest. Everyone's agreeing.
It actually was put in completely the wrong place.
Yes.
From the minute one.
The hat.
And I really liked it. I really liked what the hat was all about. But it didn't belong where it did. And then when they started putting a stage in front of the hat, with High School Musical, this, that, and the other, 1, 2, 3, 4, 750 or whatever the season it was, to have a stage in front of the hat defeated the whole purpose of that. And I'm just like, good grief, come on, let's get get a grip. Oh. You're losing the actual purpose of it, and it should have been right outside, just where the lake is. You know, where there's a beautiful.
Put it on the lake. Put it next to Gertie on the lake. That would work.
Something like that. Yeah. It just was put in the wrong place, and
I'll agree with you about the stage.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
Lit up at night. It was.
Yeah.
No,
we got a picture of it lit up at
night. That's one of my favourite pictures.
Look, gotta admit that looks better.
Impressive.
Yeah,
for a hat to be lit up.
Yeah,
I know where it would have gone better if they used it in Phantasmic.
No,
would have gone better in the middle of Seven Seas Lagoon, quite deep somewhere.
With a couple of bricks attached to it, Claire.
Well, yeah.
It needs quite a few bricks, I think.
In
just
think that showcase at the minute, so they could put the hat in there as well.
Oh, dear. Oh, can I just say a big hello to Neil who's in the chat?
Yes.
He was very waiting for Friday night stream. He said, we're that busy. We've actually got it stacked up all on YouTube. So you do need to keep on your toes. I even struggle to find where some of the stuff is because we've got that much going on.
We're so organised.
It's really difficult. So glad you found us. Good to have you here, Neil, and family from sunny Llandudno in North Wales. So
I want to say a quick shout out to Carlos. Hi, Carlos.
Hey, Miss Carlos in the chat as well.
And Nick as well.
Hey, Nick's there. Thanks, Nick. You stepped in on Sunday onto our football show. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. It's not just me that was saying that. And I hope you had a good afternoon.
The stage was monstrosity. What about the hat?
They are two separate things.
Yeah. It was all awful. Just
technically the stage is still there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think the whole show.
That sums up the hat.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. Appreciate that. I think that's either Charlie or Stacey. But
I'm not going to rant this early in the show.
In the wrong place. We've got
rant.
Loads to rant about.
Sorry, Anna's got a brilliant idea.
Don't tell her.
A roundabout feature in the parking lot.
Perfect.
I love that idea.
Just on one of the roads somewhere.
Well, they don't really have roundabouts, do they? That's the
problem. No, I was about to suggest that could be a bad idea for those people who are drivers in the US because they don't do roundabouts. But I don't appear that as a slight to anybody in America who's watching. Obviously,
you could easily position it in one of the lovely green spaces as you drive round through, the Disney drive, the roadways. That'd be nice.
Again, it was just like, it was one of those things as if somebody decided one day, now let's get rid of it. And then they just went about it, just chopped the whole thing up, shoved it in a couple of skips.
Great.
It was just like, there you go.
I have no issue with that.
Got rid of it. They should have just gone and just repositioned.
Exactly, Lisa. Anywhere in front of that beautiful theatre.
I'd agree. The theatre's beautiful. And I think that's where I think a lot of us now really...
We are wrong about roundabouts.
They have them in Massachusetts as well, I think.
Well, you know what? I apologise profusely. Maybe it's just in the areas that I've been to in various states that have that don't have roundabouts.
Yeah.
It's just because we have millions of them.
We have them every 10 yards. It's just
anyway. Mini ones, giant ones.
I think we traffic
light ones.
We're gonna have to keep going because otherwise, I've got a list as long as my arm. Right, the hat was the first one, and there are so many. And I think probably the rightful place to go is now we've got the hat out of the way. Reverence, please. All be upstanding to the great movie ride.
Little moment.
The T-shirt is worn, and actually,
I need to go and find my black armband.
It's If they just improved it, I think we'd all have been quite happy. It didn't need to be ripped out completely. Let's just update it and sort of make it a little bit more modern. And I think we'd all have been quite happy to sit and watch.
What an epic attraction. Really. I mean, did you get to do both versions of it?
Yeah.
Did you get to do gangster and cowboy?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people,
yes, we did.
A lot of people never got to do the cowboy version because they only kind of rolled that out when it was stacked. So, I think it was probably the last year that we were there that the Great Movie Ride was open, and I went on it with Morgan, and it was just like I can't even remember what the others were doing, and we're just going to go and jump on Great Movie Ride, and we got the cowboy version. And I was like, this is amazing. I hadn't ever had it, and then I think later that year it closed, and it was just I was so pleased that I got to do both versions of it. But it was brilliant.
And last time we rode, the end sequence had some fairly new films kind of scenes.
Scene at film at
the film scene at the end. You know what I mean.
And
had some fairly new films on it, and I thought that was quite a nice touch because they had kept it up to date in that respect.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. There's so many iconic films going throughout. I just I'd put it in the same way as One Man's Dream. I wouldn't ever want it to go, and I'd thinking about it now. I really wish we'd done it a few more times.
Did anyone else sit at the end? You know, when the film loop at the end, which had like all those amazing movies play through, I used to literally sit and take a mental note going, well, I haven't seen that. I need to see that. I need to see that. I need to see that. And there was loads that I had seen, but then there was loads that I had never seen. And I think I've still got a list on my phone notes somewhere of afterwards, Dan and I had sat down and just gone, write them all down so we can watch them. And half of them we've never got around to watching, but it was just like that iconic, gosh, all this incredible movie making through the years that we completely missed. And then, you know, the ride itself was fabulous, apart from obviously the Sigourney Weaver animatronic, but that was sort of,
I can forgive that.
She sort of necrosed as the years went by. So it was. I remember going on it as a kid and being terrified of that alien bit.
I remember that I got
as an adult
and being terrified of the alien bit. So don't worry, I haven't seen the alien films since I was a kid, so that might be why.
Yeah, I've got to say, there's loads of people. It's great to see so many people in the chat as well. I'm just going to say I'm a bit of a completist on stuff, and if you know, obviously, many of the past few trips that we've taken, we've been. The gangsters tried to.
You heckle. I hope you heckled.
Oh, you've got to do that. Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. I'm going to say I was very privileged to be in Walt Disney World in August 2017. And there's a few things we're going to talk about tonight, or we might even get time to talk about. But the studios always seems to have a closure date in August. And so if it's the closing date, I've got to go on the last day. I have to be there on the last day. It's that sort of physical bit of just saying goodbye. And I don't know why. I think because we live so many thousands of miles away that, you know, we've talked about loads of things I've never had the chance to say goodbye to. But actually within the studios, there's been the chance to do it. And I remember that very last morning, and we were in a massive queue. And we even had people either side of us that were offering to just take pictures of us. We were taking pictures of them. And it was just it was just one of those moments that you always remember, that people just came from far and wide just for one last ride on the Great Movie Ride. And you know, when you're thinking, this is how it always was, even when it first started. And the films were fresh, and the whole set was fresh, and everyone was just like, "Oh, can you remember when we were sort of kids and we went to watch The Wizard of Oz, and we sat in my grandma's house, and everybody gathered around telly, and we all watched that." And it was one of those days. It was just brilliant, and I just thought, you know, it was a nice way, a lovely way of actually ending it. And I think that was, and again, but the t-shirt wearing tonight, Disney had actually got by this time. Disney had actually got, if you're closing stuff. It's an opportunity to actually invite people to come back for the last time. Secondly, it's a merchandising opportunity. And then they missed that with things in the past that, you know, even Wishes was, I think it was a couple of t-shirts, and that was it. You know, we didn't get enough notice that Wishes was ending. And so they've learned, I think, over time that they can actually manage it, and probably actually manage the irate social media backlash in a way as well, isn't it?
John, you mentioned the Wizard of Oz scene. I have to agree with Anna. The Munchkins are a bit freaky.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do. I think it's
right. Let's keep moving because we've got a lot to get through.
That's exactly what we need to keep doing tonight. So
I'm going to keep whipping you, going, come on.
Okay, I'm just going to.
Apparently, there was a Captain Jack show.
Did anyone do the Captain Jack show?
Nope.
No.
Didn't even know there was one. We did.
Yep. Did you?
Oh, cool.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
It's like, did we?
Yes. You know what was next? What was next to One Man's Dream?
Oh my God! Yes,
we did it on our honeymoon. Our first.
Oh no, I did Prince Caspian.
It was the pirates.
Yes.
Do you know what? I think we did.
It was just pirates, not for long.
And then they shut it down to make way for Toy Story Land.
Yeah. Do you know what we did? And the reason it wasn't memorable was because it wasn't great.
It wasn't brilliant. No,
I do remember going to the Prince Caspian thing and going, what is this?
Yeah, I was expecting more from what it was. I think we waited like 25 minutes in the queue. It was like mid-summer.
Mid-June.
Mid-June, so it was like,
yeah.
You were done. Yeah.
Can I also add, I think we did the same, and it wasn't that interesting, if I'm being honest.
No.
But
that I can't believe I forgot about it.
I might only be on a one-man mission on all of this, but it does not matter if you are there for the day, you're there for 2 weeks. If One Man Stream is showing in the little One Man Stream pavilion that you walk through, and there's a museum and stuff like that, and they very occasionally, and far too often for my liking, they put trailers for upcoming films on. But if the film of One Man Stream is there, you go. watch it, absorb it, and then go and tell every other person you know that film, to me, epitomizes why we all want to go to that special place.
Take your tissues.
I can't get it's through wonderful.
I can't. I'm done. Like, it's just amazing. The first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And thank goodness for sunglasses. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since we've been able to do it, because every time we're there, they seem to have movie trailers on. We still go and have a look around the museum though.
But please do. It's a bugbear of mine. I don't believe that.
I think that's still there.
It is. And I think
we even did the Guardians meet and greet that was there, because there's a few meet and greets that appear in One Man Dream, which disappear quite frequently. I think Monsters Inc. was there for a little while, then it went into Guardians, where we met Groot, Baby Groot, and Star-Lord.
Yeah, they don't belong there.
I can't remember who's there now.
It's like a reverential bit, and I think I've said it on the podcast as well.
Yeah,
I think everybody who goes to
touch it, just don't touch it.
Yeah.
Don't touch it. Leave it alone.
You need to go there before you actually enter the gates of Magic Kingdom.
I think it should be mandatory.
I just think there you go.
Right. When you get Magical Express from the airport, they take you there first.
Play the film on the bus.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Play the film on the bus. Make sure everyone absorbs it, and then crack on and have a good time. Good time.
There you go. I've got that off my chest. Let's move on. I'm quite happy now. I can once I've actually plugged the fact that One Man Stream belongs in the whole of Walt Disney World, and
you're probably preaching to the converted here, John.
I know I am. I just feel a little bit better. I'm going to go for a coffee. In fact, go for a coffee. Let's stop at the right stop.
Oh, you had to, didn't you?
I did. One of my favourite little places.
I think that. I loved it in there.
We possibly need a moment of silence to pay reverence to the Writer's Stop, because my goodness, what a place that was. Yeah. I miss it so much.
Yeah, I'll raise my refillable mug. Just as a means of just suitable reverence. And it was, do you know something? Looking back on it, it was always a place you could just, hardly anybody went there, and you could always find a nice little space. You could then go
seats, or the high stools were nice.
Oh, the high stools at the back were just amazing,
and the books. Spent hours in there looking at books, and the service was not the speediest. I recall.
The coffee wasn't great either, for being honest. But actually,
the hot chocolate was.
Oh right.
Yeah.
The hot chocolate was really nice.
The carrot cake cookie, when it was still a carrot cake cookie, not some abomination that it is now. Yeah. I remember so I was trying to think how long ago it was. It was probably 2014, maybe a bit before that. And we had become aware of the Ridley Pearson Kingdom Keepers books. And Morgan wanted to read them. And that was for us, that was one of the only places you could buy them. And I remember trying to take, I think over the course of 2 years, we bought all of them. So
if only had known, if it had known you back then, you could have saved ourselves a fortune. Right. We did the same.
They weigh a ton when you get to like 4 books, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Trying to get them in the luggage to get home. We've still got them though. I haven't read them yet, but they're apparently very good. But all the recipe books, I remember just so nice in there. And let's face it, the tap house is nice, but it's not stuff.
I'm gonna go across that, Claire, because actually, I've shared a beer with Neil in the tap house, and actually, we've actually spent time just people watching, and just watching the whole world sort of pass you by, and it's the same ambiance.
Yeah, it's a good corner for that.
Yeah, and Disney have actually come across something. I think they've actually realised that sort of that whole alcohol and a nice chill out place where it is doesn't have to bring in a lot more money than sort of coffee and a Danish pastry. It's not, and books are not going to, you're not going to have the tills ringing with that. But I'll tell you one thing, you do specialist beer, and I've got to say, it's a lovely, lovely place. I don't know, I can't speak highly enough about the Baseline Tap. And
it is nice sitting out on the benches in the sunshine.
Yeah. And I missed the Writer's Stop when it shut. I really found it difficult, but I've got to say, it probably tantamount to some of these places we spoke about in other shows, you know, where we hate to see something that is familiar close, and yet something comes in its place and we desperately want to hate it, and yet the baseline tap actually is, I'm struggling to say it's as good as, but it's very close to that whole experience.
It's
and that whole
different.
That whole beauty. Different. Yeah. And I think the right stuff, the thing was, it was just the books and the kitchenware stuff at the back as well. And it was just a unique little
They
place.
serve the same purpose. It's a place to stop. Yeah. It's a place to stop and chill and just catch your breath and grab a drink, whether that be alcoholic or non, and sit with your friends and family for a moment of calm. Actually, I think they both serve
all
the same
they need to do is add
purpose,
some books to Baseline Tap House.
Now, there's a thought, Ben. There's a thought.
As long as I'm allowed to sit down and read them, you can make it a library.
Yeah,
I'd be good with that.
They should have just put. They should have just put the back wall like an homage to the Writer's Stop and left a painting of all the books and everything like that. That would be
or just wallpaper of fake books.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Where should we go next?
Let's keep moving because there's a lot to talk
about. As we're there, should we talk about Streets of America?
I think we should.
Yes.
I think you've got some lovely pictures as well, Ben. You know, and
that's amazing. How cool was that?
Just as a visual, I love that. That is just. I think every family who ever went to Disney's Hollywood Studios has got that photo with either a child or usually an adult
getting drenched
in their supply of just sort of stock photos, and it's just, I don't know, it was so lovely, really was. And that was, has anybody seen this? And actually, I don't know what they were called, but there was like similarly to other parts of the studios as well. But you actually had a hot,
hot set. Definitely.
Being there, and they drag people in, and
we ended up getting dragged into that. We got dragged into that at some point.
Yeah. I'm going to start.
Who was the band? Was it Mulch, Sweat and Tears?
Mulch, Sweat and Tears. Yeah.
That used to play around there as well. They were great. Yeah. I remember when they went away, and everyone was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
they were really, really good.
There you go. Yeah, there you go, Charlie. Everyone's got it. It's great.
I remember taking photos of those sets and just being blown away by the flat set and how clever it was. Yeah, it's like really basic movie making, but it was impressive when you're there and you're in it and you sort of come around the corner.
I think when you were actually there, you didn't really get the full flavor of it.
No.
And then it's only when you take the photo and then you get back home and you're looking at the photo and you're thinking, oh my word. It's just like
exactly what Anna's just said. Yeah. You have no idea what it looks like from when you're there.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that it went away. But you know, the whole this is a live movie set. You know, this is a live studio kind of died down.
And also there was the street where the Golden Girls was as well, wasn't there?
The Golden Girls house in the back.
It's just that was so cool. It was just such a brilliant thing to think that, you know, and I'm not a great fan of the Golden Girls, and I probably imagine a lot of people in the chat would be, but actually it's absolutely top notch. And it's that part of the Streets of America that then leads us on very nicely. And this probably will require the Black Arm Band, a standing up sort of moment. But also, when
just play the video.
You got to Christmas, and I'm going to fill up as Ben's showing this because actually.
I've got chills.
I tell you, it's just like it was just so special. It was just such an amazing thing. And I've got to say, the first time I took my kids, we had one child in a pushchair at the age of probably about 18 months. He'd not long started walking, and he got out of the pushchair and he was just like swiveling. He was just running round and round, and sort of my eldest son was just pogoing on the spot to the music as the lights were just coming at you, and it was just breathtaking. And it's just, don't know, it's just missed every single Christmas since, and particularly when it went dark. Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with Lisa there. But every single Christmas, we will have a night where we'll find loads and loads of YouTube videos, just to, first of all, to listen to the music, but also turn the lights off in the house, and you're getting all of that sort of the pulsing lights and everything. It was just absolutely incredible.
So I never got to see the Osborne lights.
Oh, Claire.
Just never went at Christmas.
Yeah.
I have watched videos of it, and my goodness, were they amazing. I mean, that was a lot of light bulbs, and the whole coordination, it must have been incredible, and I'm gutted that we never saw it. But you know what, next year we're buying those lights for our tree, the ones that you can choose. You can I think Jill and Peter got them, didn't they, that you can attach to the, you can tune the, you can Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth them to your phone and play the Osborne music through your phone, and they'll dance to the music for you. We're having them. We had a discussion about it last year and it didn't happen. The next year it's happening. But yeah, I know that everyone who's ever seen the Osborne lights has just been overwhelmed with the emotion that they bring. It kind of does just do Christmas in a really special way. So I'm gutted, but you know, I'm sure that
it's a weird one as well, though, because that was, in a way, I felt that was another thing that was badly managed at the time, and yet looking back now, I think there's no other place that you could actually put the lights to do it justice, and to actually share with people the absolute beauty and the.
I don't think the lights would fit in Galaxy's Edge very well.
No.
Don't quite get that feeling.
I reckon you could put something similar in Disney Springs, you know, through that arcade bit where the harbour and stuff is. That would be, you know, down that street. Hey, Robin. That would be quite cool. I think you probably could in that centre section, but you know, they're gone, and I think it would be hard to replicate it. It would never really match up, probably. So it's better.
No, it wouldn't be the same.
Leave it be.
Yeah. And also to think of the initial sort of part of that, before it became as big as it actually ended up, because it seemed to multiply and just sort of expand beyond all reality. But it started as part of the original sort of backlot tour. It was like a walking, you know, you walk through and it was the lights and you see this. And actually, once it all sort of came back onto the streets of America, you then became so aware of just how powerful it became, and people coming together with the music part of it, especially, because it was all, you know, it's as well saying, you know, I think Jill mentioned before about Trans-Siberian Orchestra and the Mad Russians Christmas. You know, there's so many songs that you associate just with that place. And
that's a good idea, Lisa.
Yeah, be ideal.
Great. That'd be a bit like Disneyland, because Disneyland have the lights all down Main Street because
they've got projections on each side of Main Street,
and that's pretty special. So if you're
I
listening,
think as well, Charlie's mentioned something in the chat there, and he's talking about the Give Kids to the World feature. Certainly the way that the village was done last Christmas was absolutely incredible, and I know that we put a note in one of our shows at that time. And I think it might even have been Carlos we were talking to, and we put it in our show notes simply because it was such a fabulous way of raising money for people who needed it. And again, for people who've never seen it, just do a YouTube search of Give Kids the World. A marvel. They did it very, very well, and I thought, you know, that is perhaps some way in which they can keep that whole spirit of what the Osborne Lights was probably originally intended, because I don't think we'd ever get that spirit back again within Hollywood Studios. It wouldn't fit anymore. We wouldn't get the same vibe, and it was a time and a place, and I think Claire, it's just like I'm gutted that you never got a chance to see it, because it was just simply something that's just
I've had a thought of where they could put them. How about on the walkway between Boardwalk and Hollywood Studios? Because at night it gets quite dark. Yeah. Gets quite dark along
and
there.
the boats, the friendship boats go up down there. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. You could see it from Skyliner. That'd be fun.
Something different.
So I'm going to contest the Osborne family lights for the best thing that happened around the streets of America.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm going to see your Osborne lights, and I'm going to raise you the Phineas and Ferb meet and greet. That was down there.
Okay.
How
good was that?
How long did I wait in that queue with Morgan when he was like 8? About 2 hours. My life. And we've talked about the fact that I don't really do meet and greets. They drive me mad, and I don't really like waiting for them, definitely. But the Phineas and Ferb one was probably the one that I remember sticks in my mind the most, because it was a blazing hot day in the middle of August, and my goodness, did we wait for a long time, but it was worth every single minute of it, because it was fantastic. And Morgan had his Perry the Platypus t-shirt on, which was fantastic.
And it's kids as well, though, isn't it? I've got a picture. I think our Joe had a hat on, and then Ferb deliberately turned the hat onto sideways, and you suddenly become aware of the fact that they are absolutely loving the characters that they're portraying. And you're just thinking,
absolutely, they were having so much fun.
They had an absolute blast, and it was absolutely brilliant. I've got to say, the studios was absolutely a brilliant place for really strange meet and greets.
Yeah, there were some obscure things.
There was, and I think there's. I'm gonna give our Joe a big shout out, because actually, Handy Manny in his prime, when Handy Manny was the must see. Joe's got a picture. I don't know if it's. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to embarrass.
Does Handy Manny still appear in the Disney Junior thing?
There we go. Look at that.
Don't think he does, but don't quote me on that.
That is my youngest.
Handy Manny was great,
and he had to bring his Handy Manny outfit.
I love
to get a picture with Handy Manny, and it's just as a parent, you're watching just to go.
Top marks for effort, Joe.
That is so good. And it was, again, one of them things. Yay.
And you know what? I wish we could go back and do Phineas and Ferb again, because let's face it, we'd all go, what you doing? And do it. It would have been so much fun.
See, I can remember seeing them on our first trip out there and wondering who they were.
Grossly underrated characters.
And the queue was
no idea.
So huge.
The queue was huge. And I was like, I don't recognise those two characters. I've got no idea who they are. We did see that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Lightning McQueen and Mater out there that year as well.
Now they're still there, only they're in that new courtyard. After you get
the new cars thing down the other end.
The Rock and Roller Coaster, and they built that building in at the back. And
the Lightning McQueen experience-y thing that I haven't done yet.
But you can still get that. That looks good.
Kermit and Miss Piggy meet and greet. That would be really cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, goodness. Now we're talking.
Jacob and Neverland Pirates. Yes. Yo ho. See, I love all those kids' cartoons, and I would happily, I would happily go to Disney Junior with Millie. Dad and Morg didn't want to go in, but the Disney Junior live on stage, I was happy to go and do that every time.
Before we had kids, we went.
Did you?
They're in the big blue house, and we didn't even have kids at the time. Yeah, Neil said it as well. Yeah.
Neil.
Bear in the big blue house, and Bear was on the parade. Bear was absolutely everywhere, and it was just absolutely the songs.
I just have this
I know every single song word for word.
Yeah.
My sister loved Bear in the Big Blue House.
Anyone starts singing a goodbye song, and it will make me fill up, and I will go. It's just it's just gone. And I've got to say, it was. I've got a big thank you to say to Joe tonight, because just over my shoulder, we're talking about the studios. Bear makes an appearance, and it just had to be done, and it's just
Morgan's got a Tutty mouse, and I think we've got Pip and Pop as well somewhere.
I can't talk about Tutty. I'll get lynched.
Is there a story there somewhere?
There is, but I can't say it. Otherwise, my eldest son will lynch me. I assure you.
You can tell us later, and then we'll tell it.
I'm under the threat of death.
Bear in the Big Blue House. It was the best program ever. You know, and you can't do better than that. And I'm
on Disney Plus, is it?
No, you can't.
But I've signed a petition to get it on Disney Plus. So if anyone's listening, there's a petition somewhere on that change.org, which Disney Plus I'm not going to listen to. But I think it's another letter to Mr. JPEG, isn't it?
I think it probably is.
Yeah,
I think it probably is. But who doesn't love Bear in the Big Blue House? It's just amazing. And do you know what? We've played it for Millie, you know, recently. The bit where Bear comes up to the screen and smells, and he's like, it's like, you smell of pajamas. It's just like, it's so cute. I loved it. Anyway, too much fangirling about Bear. Let's move on because there's loads more to talk about.
Also, the birthday song as well. I've got to admit, eldest son might be 18 this year, but it'll be the first one on birthday morning. For the 18th year in a row, that will be the song that's on.
Brilliant.
That's how much of a tradition it is here. So
love it.
But Bear just belongs within the studios, and
it does. They should have a pavilion which has got all the old stuff in it. Just put it all together, and we can all just go and hang out there all day.
Star Wars launch bay. They could
They totally could. They could slowly serve some coffee, like writer's stop. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. Now we're in that place. Can we just have a quick mention? Because actually, within what is now Star Wars launch bay, beyond that, the sort of Disney live on stage bit was actually an animation place, and the most incredible experience. And
look at Terry's shirt.
You didn't really notice it. You know, you actually walked in, and there were that many different meet and greets. There was a fantastic Phantasmic Mickey experience, and there was Minnie as well. Yeah, and I was just like,
oh, that's cool. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
and he was amazing.
And we had T-shirts at one point. The kids we'd found at one of the outlets for about $3, and it was just the same. It was as a T-shirt, but it was the same sort of makeup. The amount of people that stopped us in the park asking us, "Where'd you get those T-shirts?" And it was, and then we sort of obviously, even when the kids got a little, 7 and 8, and they're squeezing it in the size, age 5 T-shirt just for that experience of going in there. But
would you not buy them another shirt, John?
You couldn't get it. It was one of those strange ones. You know, when you're in the outlet and you see something, and you wish you'd bought every single age up to the age of 50.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kids' T-shirts, and we bought them. They cost us nothing. And again, just an example of just you pick something up, and how many people stop you and just love the fact that they look so good. And they also started promoting other films in there. I know we met The Incredibles one time in there, but we also had a Lotso meet and greet in there when they were obviously promoting the Toy Story film that he was in. And it was just, when you get the opportunity of actually meeting characters that are so rare.
Did he smell of strawberries?
Did smell of strawberries, Claire, and that made it even better. It was so cool.
Can you imagine being friends with Lotso? Because you would smell of strawberries. Yeah. It'd be like working in a fish and chip shop when you go home smelling a chip pack. You just go home smelling of strawberries.
Like we're talking about the Streets of America and how you're not aware of sort of the set and the pictures in the background. For that picture, there was like a Tonka truck that had sort of tipped its the back of the truck up, and you're not aware of it when you're there, and you're just like, and then you look at the photo and you're just like, look at that. That's what they were trying to do.
I've never met Lotso. I would quite like to meet Lotso just because I think he's pretty epic as a character, isn't he?
Yeah, we met him at a Halloween party.
I was going to say, he's still at the Halloween party, I think.
Yeah.
And he still smells of strawberries.
It's amazing. And I've got to say, it's one of them things that the studios was so brilliant at actually including all of those all of those characters that the kids really sort of were into, and you could actually, you could actually balance out the sort of the one-man stream stuff, maybe some of the things that we're about to talk about. Great movie ride. And so you consider them to be more adult-based, but actually they would actually balance that with the character meet and greets for children and adults, I would hasten to add.
Loved doing the animation classes.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's a bit special. And I'm with you, Claire, when you talk about Phineas and Ferb, you would actually queue up. It didn't matter how long it took, because actually it was
2
so
hours
good. The
in
interaction
120
was so
degrees.
good.
99% humidity. It was hot.
And then once the kids get a little bit older, you actually venture into this thing, the animation studio.
Yeah.
Instead of bypassing and going, we're going to see Mickey, we're going that way. No, come this way. And you actually go through a different door, and you suddenly get into this room, and it's like all these people with like big A3 bits of paper on a desk, and then the artist at the front. And you get to draw different characters. Now, part of this, see, look at that quality of that. You know, set myself to that. I'm not sure if that's mine or my missus. I think that might be my missus, because she can draw better than I can.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I'm positive it is as well. But the one thing about it was, and this is what they've tried to recreate in Animal Kingdom, in Planet Watch, with getting the Disney artist there and trying to share it. It's not the same, and it was one of those true studios things, because it was that whole animation studio and how each of them, they described the cartoons that they've been involved in drawing characters. They would actually, if you went to see them at the end and you spoke to them nicely, they would even flick through the book and they would show you all the different characters. And it probably was one of those that were. You
can still do it in Disneyland Paris. Weirdly, the animation building in Disneyland Paris still. Well, it still has the setup. They don't always have it running, but they still have it set up. And I seem to remember there was also an animation experience like that at Disney Quest.
Yes, there was.
And I think there's one. As I said, there's one at animation as well.
There is something really special about being shown how to create these characters on paper. That for the artists, that the Imagineers that are doing it, it's like 2 seconds. They can do it with their eyes closed. But actually, to come away with your own free souvenir, saying, don't get many free things in Disney, but that would be a free souvenir.
It was that.
And the
was it, Claire. Yeah. And
it's great fun.
And what we did, and you don't know what character it is, and that was the fun of it. If you've got your fingers crossed that you want a certain character,
it was never that one.
The law of Sod would tell you that you'd be in there, and actually no chance.
But sometimes you got some really cool characters. I think we did. I certainly I can't remember which one it was, whether it was in America or in Paris. We got Mushu, which was excellent, and that was really cool.
We got Pascal. Pascal wants and Winnie the Pooh the second.
It's great.
We were lucky. We got Goofy, but then we also got Minnie. One time we did it, and because Minnie was in the meet and greet, so we went straight from the animation. We then queued up for Minnie's meet and greet, and we got her.
They don't look like me.
No, we got her to sign them.
Oh my
goodness! It was just like really, and it's
brilliant.
It was top notch, and I've got to say,
I think they're missing a trick, because it is a crowd sucker, and you could, even just observers rather than people participating, you could, and it really was the heart of what the animation area was about. So I think it's a real shame it's not there anymore.
Yeah, and there was a definitive moving on, Claire, and I think that's what we've been through in the past 10 years. And when I started looking for this week at different trips that we've been on, it actually summed up how much change has actually gone on. I'll quickly go through sort of the frozen summer of 2014, which happened before the second sort of bit of Toy Story Mania was built, and then they put an ice rink in.
They did. We went. We didn't go on the ice rink, but we did go in for the photo. There was like a magic shot photo op, which had like a little bridge.
Yeah.
And I don't think we realised it was a magic shot when we went in there. I've got a photo of Morgan and I in there together.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had any clue that that's what was going to happen. It was just as magic shots were appearing, and it wasn't until afterwards. And because we had the ultimate ticket, we had Memory Maker or Photo Pass or whatever it was before. And we got the photos back, and then we were like, when did that happen? I don't remember taking that photo, but actually it was just all the digital stuff behind.
We did the ice skating.
Did you paid for the ice skating? We
did. And the child from the picture isn't any of my children, I hasten to add. The lad in the picture was the most exceptional ice skater for his age I think I've ever seen, and he was doing all of this. He was giving it everything. And my two are holding on to the side with the legs going like Bambi on ice, and it was just like, and then Josh had suddenly let go of the side, and they were bang, and then he had right the bone at the very bottom of his back, and he's like, and he came off. They were black and blue. Strange enough, we never did it again, but laugh. Boy, did we laugh. And the kids have never been ice skating, even in the UK, ever since. It put them off for life. It scarred them for life. But that was really good fun. And that was a summer where I think things had begun to change. The whole of the studios under this whole cloud of there wasn't the direction that they knew it needed, but they knew it needed to change. And it was really strange. And what they then added was the frozen fireworks, and it just as a set of fireworks.
There was laser show as well, wasn't there? That was
a little fireworks. I think the actual fireworks themselves. What they did was they actually shut the whole of the back of the park. Yeah, there you go. Look, see how
I can see it's a hat.
Yeah,
it looks good in the fireworks.
It looks good actually.
Yeah,
but it should have cut a hole in the top of the hat and had fireworks come out the top.
But it gave a focal point for your photographs. And so you were able to just get all of those brilliant sort of colours with the shadow of the hat and so on. But the fireworks were absolutely amazing. And when they went to the Star Wars fireworks, and then I think the following year, the first lot of Star Wars fireworks were good. Not as high and certainly not as sort of 180 degree as the frozen ones. And then after that, because they were expanding different parts of the park, because the second track for Toy Story had already then gone in, so they couldn't start setting fireworks off from different parts of the roof and closing that part of the park really early. We were then into bits where lasers took over the different effects, and it lost that enormity that the frozen fireworks were just to behold with a soundtrack that at that particular time everybody knew every word of the song, and it fitted. It was a really lovely time to be in the studios. Yeah, it was really lovely, and
keep moving.
I think we'll look back on it, and we'll have so many happy memories of that.
John, I think we need to let it go.
Hey,
sorry.
See what you did there. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well done.
Quick hello to Gaz and Ange.
Hey, Gaz and Ange.
Hey, Gaz and Ange.
So
I think we should move on to.
Are we going back?
Star Wars weekends.
That's another one.
Oh, that's where we were going.
Yeah, I didn't either,
but the annual weekend where Warwick Davis would appear.
Yeah.
Roll out Warwick Davis for the weekend.
All the sort of meet and greets.
It's the one thing we're regretting not being able to do was the Star Wars weekends. They look like so much fun.
Yeah. They did.
And they had stormtroopers with personality.
My goodness, were the parks rammed.
Oh, yeah.
You just all the footage I've seen, it's literally shoulder to shoulder of Star Wars fans, shall we call them, in costume, waiting in lines to say hello to Mark Hamill and various people. It was crazy.
Yeah,
crazy, and I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. To be honest with you, I think that's been and gone, and for lots of reasons, that's not going to be the style of celebrations going forwards. I would have thought
quite a unique
they were
experience.
Pretty special, weren't they?
and everybody had so much of a good time, and it then eked out into like Star Wars weekends that were every weekend for 2 months or something.
Yeah, yeah. Warwick Davis was at all of them.
Yeah.
Instead of just for like the weekend for May the 4th, it was like, let's do it like we do Christmas in Magic Kingdom or Halloween as it starts in like August. We'll do it.
We'll do it for the whole of May.
3 months.
Yeah.
Gosh, I've just seen Lisa's comment in the chat that May the 4th is already closed out, so it's full for May the 4th.
And I think that's likely to be the case now that the development of Star Wars within the park is there. We've got the hotel coming in the future. Star Wars is firmly now a reason to stay in the studios, it's not just that added on sort of Star Tours ride, and then sort of a little bit of a nod towards sort of George Lucas.
I think Galaxy's Edge is amazing at night, and I think it lends itself to be a nice location when nighttime entertainment can come back.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There'd be a nice sort of fireworks show, obviously post-COVID.
So, I'm aware of the time, and I know I'm being timekeeper tonight, and I keep moving everybody on, but there's so much to talk about.
Massive places to go and see.
Haven't we just?
Where are we going back to?
Where are we going?
Let's go to the back lot.
I think
right at the back.
And again, I'm going to get me little dig in first because we actually were there for the very last day, and
I'm going to start thinking there's a bit of a theme here, John.
If
you like an attraction, don't go with John because it's
going to no, it's so nice because it's that whole thing.
Can you go to Small World in Disneyland Paris?
Or just Small World in general?
Yeah.
Sorry, we were the second last bus type tour thing to go on it, and everybody just got off at the end, and nobody wanted to move. Everyone just stopped, and they basically ended up shepherding us out of the movie institute afterwards. There was just an awareness that you were there at the right place, the right time.
I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you going forwards, John. If anything closes, I'm going to assume you were there. So the backlot tour was, it was something much bigger than it ended up being.
Yeah.
And action. All right, you're talking to the captain. You got a problem in the engine room. Oh no, you're taking on water. You've got a problem. Keep talking. And cut.
The first bit. And I've never been chosen to be one of those people. I've always wanted to be that person getting soaked.
It was quite extreme, wasn't it? And I remember sitting in the front rows of the sort of the bleachers where you would sit and watch that. And you got really quite wet there as well. I mean, the explosions were going off in front of your face, and you got relatively damp sat there too. So, but I think the best thing about the original backlot tour for me, I used to love going on the little tram and seeing like the costuming building and the prop building, and you'd see into where they were prepping all the costumes. Now, I never knew if that was real or not. I think it probably was. But all stuff that it's just like a graveyard of history. It was just amazing. And then, there was the
graveyard. Is that what we're going to call it?
When you'd been through that bit with the water and the development of that scene, you walked through the warehouse bit, which behind caging had props and various things. Most of them probably were genuine stuff. It was just shoved in there because actually people like looking at it. But you walked down there and you were like, oh my goodness, look at that.
It's amazing. And he was probably, the first few times we went, he was in the pushchair. He was very, very young. But that's the bit he actually remembers most. He actually remembers going through that because it was such. And if you
much, it was just that there was so many different things.
Yeah.
So I've realised why you were never chosen, John.
What's that?
Terry. Terry was chosen 4 times.
Terry.
That's why you weren't chosen. You must have been there at the same time as Terry.
It was Terry all the time. Yeah. Oh my word!
Talk to go into being excited.
I'm with you, Claire. And actually, the Catastrophe Canyon bit, I actually felt spoilt it a little bit because we all knew what we were going on. You weren't going for this sort of thrill bit, and I can understand it. It probably allowed for that longevity of the ride because there was a purpose at the end of it. But it kind of.
It was cool though, you know, the clunky road bit, and then it would tip, and the flames, and the water, and it was like, wow,
oh, it was brilliant.
I thought
it
was really
always
good.
funny. It was always funny if you put someone on the left-hand side of the
you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah,
you used to do that. Yeah. Or actually, you could sit there and you could watch the people that didn't know, you know, in the car. If you sit in the back of the car of the tram, you could see all the people in the front who didn't know what was coming, and that was also great fun. So, yeah.
No, I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't think we'll ever see again. I think the theme park going public don't have an appetite for that type of thing. I think it's all you're looking for the next sort of coaster ride. You're not looking for a little sort of drive through what was sort of popular culture 20, 30 years ago. And that's sad. You know, it saddens me in a way. I can understand why it went.
Yeah.
You know, and equally the American Film Institute showcase afterwards, which had some costumes as well. So you got off, you then go into this, and
that was amazing.
Just some incredible things, you know. And
definitely.
If you're a movie fan, it was just an absolute must-do.
Yeah.
And
spent hours walking through that bit. Definitely.
Yeah, and if you put that together with the movie ride, and you, as a film buff, which I wouldn't pretend to be myself, but as somebody who actually enjoys watching a film, you're then watching the history and the evolution of film. You're looking at the evolution of TV. You're looking at just how things were put together back in the day when it was a proper studio. Which is what it was intended originally, and obviously it's
actually go round as well when you notice these.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I think Joe mentioned them right at the beginning of the show. Actually, he talks about the Eiffel Towers. They are no longer there, sadly. There is one still in Walt Disney Studios in Disneyland Paris, but I feel like the Navigator ship was and it was much smaller than I thought it would ever be.
Yeah, wasn't it just? And I think as well, I'm just aware of time, and I think the talk of Paris brings us perfectly towards the lights, camera, action.
Do you see what I did there? It was a perfect segue.
Yes, you see, we're almost professional.
No, we're not.
I'll be more professional if we can find more good photos.
There
we go.
Yeah, but as a stage show, and I'd love to know what your views. I've got my own views. Thank you very much. Yeah, I do quite enjoy taking pictures. But it absolutely took away half of the park's queues.
Yeah,
and it would be rammed. And at that particular point, I think you probably know me well enough by now. You'll guess that I generally would not be watching that. I would be in a very short queue for Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller, with the knowledge that once that show's over, the queue times treble.
Definitely.
Because everyone was in there, and it absolutely munched up the numbers and the capacity of the studios.
But much rather in the queue for Toy Story Mania.
Yeah. But one of the things that happened, and actually a real nod to Disneyland Paris, and I think I'm very critical of Paris. You know what I'm about. But for Paris to actually have something, Claire, what's the name of the one in Paris?
That's also closed, but it was Lights Action Moteur.
But to actually nick that and shove it into Florida, and I thought, that's absolutely spot on.
That sums it up.
Jez, it's one of those things that you don't ever forget is the smell and the sound the noise of the tires screeching on the hot tarmac was it was certainly quite something. And I think it was such a well put together show. The reveal of how they did it with the reverse car shell on the chassis. That was, if you've never seen it before, and people will be like, how is he doing that in reverse? That's insane. And then all of a sudden they'll be going, actually, no. And it's just a bit of Disney magic. And I love that stuff. I love it when they trick your brain and then they explain how you do it. They say a good magician never reveals their tricks. Well, actually, sometimes they do. But it was fab. I loved it. And actually, the good thing about the one in Paris is that you could watch it from behind. So if you were if you're on the backlot tour, it would come around the back of the set, so you could see where the cars were literally doing handbrake turns to go back through on stage, and that was also very cool. But yeah, we're not talking about Paris, not today.
No, but I think as well though, Claire, and I think this is where we've got it. We're here to talk about extinct Hollywood studios, and it has a time, has a place, has a true history within what the studios used to be. I'm never quite sure as if it actually truly fitted Florida. I
think it was very, very hot sitting there waiting for it to start. That's what I remember.
Yeah, and I'd imagine
metal seats as well.
Yeah.
Very,
but then
show to produce.
I think that Hollywood Studios, to an extent, is quite a hot park anyway, because I seem to remember sitting waiting for Indiana Jones and getting burnt on my legs as well. And it just seems to be that it doesn't matter where you are, it's pretty toasty. So I don't think you can avoid that in some places. Was there anything else we needed to cover? Because we are out
just
of
very quickly mentioned, we're not going to chat about it. There was March of the Last Order, which was the most amazing Star Wars parade as you walked up.
Yeah.
And what that we had Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on stage.
Really? Was it that bad?
Yeah. Keep moving.
The American Idol experience.
Yes.
Frozen is much better.
And then and the Frozen sing along took it over. I know people in the chat have mentioned other things as well that we've probably missed. It's a park that continues to evolve, a park that actually I think all of us, everyone who's watching tonight, is a park that we'll actually look at and think, do you know something? This is probably more down what Walt has actually envisaged a theme park to do, reinventing itself again and again and again. And even the car park there has changed more than once. And again, that's that whole sort of reimagineering. And I think I started the show by saying, there was a couple of years where I thought, why don't you just close it down? And they kept going. And that whole perseverance and that whole reimagining what you want the guest experience to be, whilst still allowing people to go in and enjoy what parts of the park are open. Yeah. And I thought, that actually, that's truly what Disney's
pretty brave, isn't it?
And the focus is now sort of, instead of being behind the camera and seeing behind the scenes, it's putting yourself in front of the camera, being part of that film set, being part of everything.
Exactly. The sort of the premise of the whole thing has evolved into something that's more applicable to current thoughts around movies. So, I think it's exciting. I don't think they're done yet. I think there's still lots more to come.
And there's a Star Wars hotel right next door to the park.
We'll take your word for it.
No, I'm not.
Are you not?
I'm not into that. Yeah. But do you know something? I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everyone in the chat who just kept the chat going all night. It's just been amazing. And what's suddenly becoming apparent to me, this is becoming the quickest hour of the entire week.
Yep.
Tell me about it. It's like tonight has gone so quickly. And there's me going, keep going, because we knew how much we had to talk about, and we still gone over by 10 minutes.
That's not bad.
You never know. Lisa did put this in the chat. If you do want us to think about extending the chat at any point, please put it in the comments and we might consider it. You never know.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast, and a big thank you to you guys as well, because I think Neil mentioned that it's just like it is nostalgic. And I've really enjoyed talking about all of the old stuff. And again, if you're watching us and you've enjoyed that, let us know. Please get in touch with us on social media. Get in touch with us on our brand new email, which is waffleon@gbmickeywaffle.com. But let us know, because actually I love talking about this. And I think we'll find different ways of revisiting things that you remember that possibly we don't, but we'll go and find out about it. We'll have a chat and we'll include you. And it really has been an absolute joy. And to look back on all 4 theme parks and to have that element of, nostalgia, but also due reverence to things that we still hold dear in our hearts. And I think that's really important.
What are we talking about next week?
Have a guess. What's out on Friday?
Yeah. Next Friday's big stuff, Claire. Come on.
We've got Falcon and Winter Soldier next Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
But before we get to Wednesday, we have Friday.
Something happening Friday?
Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday, 8 p.m, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes, let's get it right.
4 p.m.
We have a new format of our Wafflers Assemble Live with quite a few tricks up our sleeves.
And some rather handsome-looking graphics as well, I hasten to add.
I thought you were going to say handsome-looking men.
No.
I'm guessing I'm not invited.
I think you're handsome, dear.
Ben's technology and Ben's ability to draw a set of graphics together that I think we might need a Wednesday night of just how to.
If nothing else, join us on Friday for the first 5 minutes, see the graphics Ben has made, and then just like and subscribe. You can go about your daily business if you wish to after that, but come and see these things that Ben has made, because my mind is blown. You're in the wrong job, Ben, and stop doing that, because someone's going to come and steal you. Someone's going to come and steal you.
Disney, if you're listening, I'll happily get paid for doing it.
The Wafflers will always be his second love.
Yeah. Is that it? Time for us to go. It's 9:15.
It certainly is.
Indeed.
You know where our website is. Ben keeps putting up www.gbmickeywaffle.com, and but just get in touch with us on socials. We're on the socials. You know where to find us.
Yeah.
Next
Thank you,
Wednesday,
everyone.
we're here, but it's been an absolute blast as always. And thanks, guys, for sharing it. We're going to just end it the way we always do. Waffle on.
Waffle on.